There are some people you just don't say no to. The Queen of England is likely one of those people. However, if you aren't a British subject, you have the right to tell her no. Hear why an American citizen told the Queen of England no.
All right, so we're in this kind of hallway, and I noticed these really intricate built-in shelves. I would call them built-in shelves, right?
Yeah, it's kind of fair. What are these?
Yeah.
So officially, they're cupboards.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Cupboards.
nobody really talks about cupboards anymore,
No.
right? Like that's not a thing you have in your house.
No, we don't.
So these are Adams Cove cupboards. These came out of a manor house in England. So right after World War I, all of those huge homes in Europe are being chopped up and sent off to auctions and gallery houses. They need to keep ownership of the land, and the way to do that sometimes is getting rid of the furnishings inside. So our fourth generation owner, William Marshall Bullitt, and his wife Nora, they are adding on to the house during this time period. In the early 20s through the mid 20s, they're adding a second floor to the main section of the house, and then they're adding this beautiful library wing. And where we're standing now is kind of a passage or a hallway into that library wing. So she saw these, Nora saw these in a gallery in London and bought them in 1924. There is a kind of a humorous family story that goes with these cupboards. So she bought them, she goes back to her hotel in London. Within the hour, the gallery owner calls up the hotel, asks to talk to Mrs. Bullitt. They get her on the phone, and the gallery owner says, Mrs. Bullitt, right after you left, the Queen Mother came in, and she just fell in love with those cupboards, and we know you're gonna let her have them.
She said no.
Supposedly, Nora said, oh no, they're going to Oxmoor. Now, I don't know if you know this. If you're a British subject and royalty visits your home and they express interest in something,
you give it
it's
to them.
customary to give it to them, right?
Yeah.
But she was not a British subject, so she did not have to acquiesce to what the Queen Mother wanted.
Oh my God.
So they ended up here at Oxmoor, even though the Queen Mother really, really wanted us.
Holy cow.
And then a local carpentry firm did all of the woodwork that you see that matches these two cupboards. So the two cupboards on the wall are the original parts, but every other woodwork that you see in the room was done by a local carpentry firm called Bittner's.
Here in
Louisville.
In Louisville.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And they matched, I mean, the intricacy on the railing here is absolutely amazing. And they matched it.
Yeah.
And that's not something that you see. And so what about the door? Did they do the door?
They did the door as well. And this is kind of a side front door. So this opens up just to the front. You can leave. Yeah. This is the main door we use for events that we have here. So in addition to doing the bourbon tours, we also do a concert series in the library.
Oh, very cool. So this is the door
very good
come in?
acoustic. Yes, this is how they get in for the concerts.
That's very neat. And tell me about the elephants. I'm just curious.
So the elephants were brought back from a visit to Asia by Tommy and his second wife, Kay. So these are two kind of souvenirs that you would bring back from your travels. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Very cool.
So what's this room?
This we call the yellow room for obvious reasons.
For obvious reasons.
Before the Grand Library was built, this was the library. And there used to be bookshelves about shoulder height all the way around this room. You can actually see a picture from 1909 here on the wall to kind of show you what this looked like back then. And then when the library wing was built, this becomes the parlor, the sitting room. Even during the 1800s, this portion of the house is finished in 1829, and it's considered the parlor or the receiving or sitting room even then.
Gotcha.
So even though it had the bookshelves and everything in it, they wouldn't have called it a library back then.
That makes sense.
We talk about this a little bit on our tour. So when you come on the tour here, you get a tour invitation. So we want you to feel like you're visiting the Bullitt family in your home. So you may notice as we've been walking through this house that there are no ropes keeping you out of the rooms, right?
Not really.
You're standing in the rooms. And that's what happens when you come on tour here. There are no ropes, stanchions keeping you out of the rooms.
So
go into the rooms, you sit on some of the furniture. People look at us like we're nuts. They're like, what are you doing letting us sit on this furniture? But remember, the family was here until 2005.
Right, so it's usable furniture.
Exactly. This has been a lived-in home. This is the furniture they use. They would have sat on, slept on, ate on these things. And we allow the people that come visit us here at Oxmoor to sit down and feel like they're visiting.
And so not to get too in-depth on the personal side,
yes,
but the family will still come and stay here.
Every so often. So usually about 3 or 4 times a year, it turns back into a residence for them. Yeah.
That's very cool.
Yeah. So it's kind of neat. And I think you get that feeling as you're walking through the house that you're like,
Yeah.
it's not like that whole like be quiet and hands off type of tour.
Right.
You know, it's more of like, hey, we want to share this story with
Yeah.
you. And the best way to do that is feel like you're part of that story.
That's really cool.
yeah.
That's fun.
Yeah. But one thing I did not mention as we had gotten started talking this morning is just the breadth of history that this land encompasses.
Yeah.
So, you know, as you came in, it's almost like you're transported to someplace different.
Yeah.
Just outside our front gate there is retail, development,
Yeah.
suburban sprawl.
You wouldn't expect it when we pulled in.
I would not expect this, right? And you come back and it's like, wow, like where are we? And 8 miles to the west is downtown Louisville.
Right.
Ohio River is 5 miles as the crow flies. I mean, it's just crazy that,
Yeah.
you know, that we have all of this looking like it did even back, you know, in the 1830s. If that second generation came back today, they'd recognize a lot of this.
That's-
you know, I mean, it's not changed that much.
Right.
But this was this was the wilderness in the 1780s.
Sure.
This was home to indigenous peoples. We know the tribes that lived on this land. And so we talk about that in our tours as well. So you get a little bit of bourbon, but you also get a little bit of the history of the
Natural history.
land.
That's
Yes.
nice.
And then for a period of about 85 years or so, there were enslaved population that lived on this land as well. African-American men, women, and children. We know a lot about them as well.
Do you really?
We actually do, thanks to those documents. And we've been carrying on archaeological excavations in what were the former slave dwellings, pulling up thousands of artifacts that date back to the time that those buildings were inhabited by enslaved people. In this process, we've actually met 25 descendants of one enslaved woman named Louisa. And we have 2 of her descendants that are advising us because we plan to put an exhibit into those buildings. And so they'll speak right into the history of their ancestor.
That is.
It's been a very compelling project.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
That's very fun. That's awesome.
Yeah.
That's just awesome.
So yes, so we're in this room now from 1829. It's been a parlor, sitting room, library this whole time. One of the neat things in this room, when you come on a tour here, this is the part of the tour where we transition into the 20th century.
Okay.
So like I said, I was telling you earlier, this is one place where you're going to walk through 3 centuries of American history under one roof. It's
crazy.
It's kind of jarring. You go from architectural changes through each of those centuries. And this is kind of the portal into the library.
Nice.
So at this point, we have people sit here. We don't tell them till they sit on this here, that these 2 pieces of furniture here, they're called Lita Reposes, were actually owned by Winston Churchill. And so when people sit down and they're sitting there, and we're like, well, you're sitting where Winston Churchill once sat. People are like, should I be sitting here? Like, do I need to get up? And I'm like, no, you're fine, you're fine. And we know our last owner, Tommy Bolt, was attached to the British military during World War II. He was actually a driver for Field Marshal Montgomery, knew Churchill. Churchill never visited Oxmoor. I will put that out there. He never visited Oxmoor, but his nephew, John Spencer Churchill, did. And we have a picture of him out front with Nora. But that time of Tommy's life was so important to him that it made it onto his headstone. He made sure that he wanted to be put on his headstone, mentioned in dispatches for D-Day.
Oh,
so that was very, very important to him. So we talk a little bit about that history in this room as well.
Enormous amount of history.
We've got way off board from the bourbon, I think,
but it doesn't matter. I mean, the history is great. This is
All right.